What's up, guys? Today I'm doing part 2 of the Daiwa Prorex rod and reel review. I've been wanting to push this off for as far as I can just because of the fact that I've been using these a ton throughout the year, and honestly, you guys know how gear is. It really well one day and then the next day it's just completely junk. So I just wanted to kind of wait till the very last minute of the year till I did this review video, and I just also wanted to address some of the questions that you guys left for me on my first video. So stay along as I go over this, and at the end I'm going to do a reel review as well. Somebody asked for that, so that's going to be part of this video as well. So hope you guys enjoy. Well guys, I got this beaver bait right here, and I put this on the 8.6 rod. And as you can see, this is probably my heaviest bait. This is my heaviest bait in the box. I've got a top water bait. It's probably kind of close to it, but I don't have any baits that are quite a pound. But this is probably 3/4 of a pound, which is right around that max weight, 13 ounces, which is this 8.6 medium heavy. That's the max weight that it says on here. Yep, 13 ounces. So I would just say, like, this is something that I probably, you can make this work, but I would be kind of worried to fish this like a lot on a rod like that. I think the max weight would be probably 10 ounces on the 8.6. I think it's a little bit generous for them to say 13 ounces on that 8.6 medium heavy. But that's why, if you can, especially for the price of these rods, I would recommend that you pick up a second rod, which is what I did. I've got this 9.6, or it's actually technically a 9.5 extra heavy, and the maximum lure weight is 18 ounces. So you can throw up to a pound on this, a little bit over. And you can easily see, like this, I can launch this bait no problems. I could definitely put on a heavier bait and be fine with this rod. But again, I would say this is another one that's a little bit iffy. 18 ounces, I would be kind of worried throwing a pound bulldog on this. I know I'm sure you could do it, but it's just one of those things. I don't know, if it wasn't a telescopic rod, I would feel like it'd be fine. But then again, I just have to kind of get back to you guys on that because I don't know. Hopefully this year I'll be able to get a pound bulldog. That's my goal, and if that's the case, then I will definitely give a year 3 review, and I will include that. But as far as I'm concerned, this rod is perfect for anything between 8 and I'd say about 16 ounces. Anything under is fine too. Like, I've actually thrown some bucktails on this rod, and it's fun. And I actually throw top water on this rod because it's much easier to get that lure down and around on figure 8s with a longer rod rather than an 8.6. So that's something to also keep in mind if you like fishing top water like myself. But yeah, for the most part, I would say the 8.6 would get you by if you don't like throwing super heavy baits. If you like throwing bucktails, top water, and things like that, you can get by most definitely with just that 8.6 medium heavy. But if you want to cover all bases, I would say doing an option like this, buying 2 rods, buying one that's extra heavy and then one that's medium heavy, that would really be able to allow you to be much more versatile and use just about every single lure in a box. So I wanted to grab the lightest bait that I had on my box and put that on both of the rods to kind of compare the two, and to give you guys a little bit of an example of what these rods can handle as far as the lighter end. I know I covered the heavier end, or I tried my best to, but this is as much as you're going to get out of one of these little glide baits, which I believe is around an ounce. This is, not bending the rod much, but just enough. You drop the line about this much from the rod tip, and you can launch a small bait or a small bucktail or a little, I don't know about, yeah, you could probably do like a little pointer. a musky, like little bait like this, little crankbait would work the best, I would say, on something like this. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing it on the 995 extra heavy. I'll show you if you guys are trying to just buy one rod for everything. I don't know if 9.5 extra heavy would be the one to go with. I personally would probably go with that medium heavy. But you could make it work. I mean, it's really not bending the rod much at all with this. Like I would say the lightest you want to go with a rod like this 9.5 extra heavy is probably 3 ounces. I mean, you could definitely launch this still, which is one of those things. I mean, you can make anything work ultimately as long as it's not overkill. I think you're better off going on like the lighter end, but you never want to go heavier, obviously, on a rod. You never want to break the rod. Ideally, you want to avoid doing that. But I'm going to throw on another crankbait that is probably commonly used, or here, how about a bucktail? I'll show you guys what it is. You know, this is not that heavy. I would say like a medium-sized bucktail. I'll put this on that extra heavy rod and show you guys how doable or non-doable, depending on your opinion, it is. And it really doesn't drop, doesn't give you much flex, but it gives you enough, in my opinion. Like you can really drop the line about like that and just launch this. So I mean, I like using a longer rod for my bucktails, so I was kind of experimenting and using this a little bit more. But then again, I would always go back to that. I just think the 8.6 is a little bit better for me. But just like everything, you gotta take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Everybody's got preference, everybody has different opinions. These are just my opinions. But yeah, that being said, I hope this helped. And yeah, on to the next one. So the next question is how far do they telescope down? This was a question that apparently is not able to be found online. So I figured I would do it real quick for you guys that are curious about that. Hopefully it's not too late. But nonetheless, find out what it condenses down to. So this one, oops, hopefully I don't break a rod in the process. So this one does go down to 7.8, I would say. 7.8. I thought it went down to 7.6. This is the 8.6, medium heavy. So that goes down to 7 foot 8 inches. And let's see with this one here. And this is obviously the 9.5 extra. And this one goes down to about 8.3. So it goes down to about a foot. It goes down about a foot on each of them. So, hope that helps. Next question. So the next question was also related to the length that I guess measurements aren't posted online. So I'll give you another measurement, and that is of the handle length from the top to the bottom of the cork. And on the 8.6, it is 27.5 inches. And on the 9.5, it is 29 inches. So there you have it, there's that. And then a quick casting reel review. So I would like to say that I love bait casters, and I feel like because I'm a bass fisherman, it's just one of those things that I can tell when a good bait caster is a good bait caster, just by the performance when I'm casting it in a day. I don't need a whole season, but with these in particular, I've had for a little bit over a year now, and I just am blown away with how Daiwa casts. Like, I've never owned a Daiwa bait caster before, but one of my favorite things about these is that they've got these awesome breaks right here that are right within your palm. It's scaring me having that rod right there. But, so like when you're casting, you can really adjust your speed, your brakes right on the fly. You know, like with Tranks is you have to pop off the cap and then adjust a brake or whatever that way. But this way you get a ton of different variations, a ton of different customization, and you just get to do it right like this. You don't have to, you know, do anything special, which if you know, musky fishing is all about efficiency. You need the lure in the water as much as possible. So I think that is a huge feature that I couldn't live without now that I've had it, and that's something that I'd say these are awesome for. And then another thing I wanted to mention about these reels is just that they're super comfortable for somebody that has smaller hands. I really love to palm my reels while I'm fishing, and this is just one of those musky reels that's just super comfortable to fish with. And I think that's hard to find when when you're finding a good musky reel, especially for this price range. This is a solid price range. It is a little bit on the the more expensive side, but all things considered, it's a really good quality reel for the money that you're paying. And like I have said in the first review, I will give further reviews, because when you spend this amount of money on a reel, you want it to last for year and year and year, especially when you're not doing it. You know, musky fishing is one of those things that if you're lucky, you go out a dozen, maybe 2 dozen times a year. But a lot of guys don't even get out that many times. So I would say that this is just one of those reels that's worth the money as of now. And I look forward to getting back to you on my opinions in the next year. But for the most part, the drag is phenomenal too. Like, there's no complaints that I have. Actually there is one complaint, the fine tune knob, which is on the right side here, which is the only other customization that you get on a bait caster like this. It doesn't have a clicking system. So, I don't know, I feel like that could be easily added. I hope that their next model of the Prorex comes out with that. But nonetheless, I love this thing. It really makes musky fishing much more enjoyable. And yeah, I hope this helped. And then one last thing, I believe. And overall, I just want to say, these things have held up very well over the past year and a half. I think the price range of these rods, being at around 160 bucks, I think that's a phenomenal rod for the money. And as well as the reels, as I was just saying, like, it's a great reel for the money too. As long as they hold up for year after year use, I'm gonna be a huge fan of these and a huge advocate, and I'll push everybody that's interested onto these, because I think they're awesome. But with that said, I do look forward to possibly getting my hands on a Tranks to do a review with one of those, and maybe another review on a different reel if you guys have something in mind that you want me to check out. Hoping to do a lot of fishing in 2024, especially a lot of musky fishing. So I'd be super pumped to test another product out for you guys if you like the way I review things. And yeah, I'll see you guys next year. If nonetheless, I'll see you next video. Peace out, fam.